The year was 1916. Woodrow Wilson was president, and the country was not yet involved in World War I. Eatonton, Georgia was a small farming town then, and Putnam County was fast becoming known as the dairy capital of the state. But the town made headlines one January night when the Eatonton School burned to the ground. The community came together to rebuild it in a record 11 months, using famous architect Charles Choate to design it. It would serve generations of students and hold decades of memories. Martha Adams was a second-generation graduate.
It was a real easy time. My mother and all of her siblings went to school here, and my husband and his siblings went to school here, and I went to school here.
I can remember getting dropped off in the first grade, being so nervous coming in the door to Miss Strickland's class, but she was the greatest little teacher you'd ever want.
Mike Roundtree remembers when the old school was the place to be.
Yeah, it was always a gathering place. Yeah, we'd meet you at the ball field, and we said ball field. You knew where we were going. We were going to the Little League field.
In the late 1970s, the school became a Head Start Center and then later an Early Childhood Development Center. But time and lack of funding took their toll, and what was once a crown jewel of the town fell into disrepair.
When I first came in, it just broke my heart to see what kind of shape everything was in.
Then in 1998, an idea was born of a Putnam County leadership program. Tom Rossiter, a relative newcomer to town, suggested renovating the old school, turning it into a community arts center, giving it new life. He remembers the first time he walked through the building.
The ceiling was coming down and the windows were out and everything was terrible. But the whole area, the whole room, they don't make rooms like this anymore. It was really, it was something. All I could see was, wow, this is a great facility, but it was falling down.
City officials endorsed the idea, and then Mayor Billy Dabbs got behind it. He appointed Eatonton native and 20-year city councilman Ulysses Rice to help. The men forged a partnership that would last until Rice passed away in 2005. He left a legacy of service and a project well underway.
He was a big influence on helping us to bring all of the community together about this project. He was a big part of that.
The project began with what Rossiter called hanging pictures in people's minds and the creation of 3 committees. The Auditorium Committee was chaired by Dottie McLean. The Museum Committee was led by Maud Hicks.
We created the committees and got people involved, and it took a life of its own.
And Marcia Sickfelin took the helm for the Landscape Committee. Her task would come first, recreate that old gathering place out front.
Tom had the idea, the vision, to improve it and make it into something beautiful where people would want to come. And since I had been a landscape designer, he made it sound very simple and said, could you just draw out this little sketch? Just pencil and paper, nothing fancy.
It would become known as the Plaza.
We wanted something that would be like a gathering place where people would come with families.
And how they came. The Plaza was a hit from the start. A beautiful park with benches, a fountain, and plenty of room for fun. Young and old came by the hundreds to enjoy weekend picnics, bands, and cookouts. And with that momentum, the building renovation began with the incorporation of the Eatonton Putnam Arts Foundation, or EPAF. They would work tirelessly for almost a decade. Their greatest challenge, raise enough money to complete the plan.
We received a lot of matching funds from companies, and a lot of people in town jumped on board and just started giving money toward the building.
The estimated $2.5 million project received its first $40,000 from a state of Georgia grant, and the ball was rolling on a campaign that would be included in 2 splost votes. But local businesses and individuals would ultimately contribute the vast majority of the money needed for the renovation. Mayor John Reed knew it was hard-fought fundraising for a building that would serve the whole county.
It was a challenge to convince people that we needed to put that much money into this splash to make this building a reality, and to convince them that it was not just a citywide project, but it would benefit the whole county.
With funding underway, so was the extreme makeover. The roof was caving in, ceilings were rotting, windows were broken out, and the plaster was coming off the walls. The auditorium had holes in the floors, broken pipes, and water damage.
I can remember from time to time, Tom would come by and say, "Oh no, we've got this," and the price just went up.
For years, EPAF guided every change with the help of architect Dan Lemberg and Keystone Builders. Cranes came in and scaffolding went up. The work was slow, the project was massive, but renovation was only half the battle. The rest was holding on to interest and support.
That was the biggest challenge, just keeping everybody smiling and saying, yeah, we're with you.
So new hard pine floors went down over the split and rotting hardwoods. The missing and damaged ceiling tiles were replaced with new. What had been an open porch became a glassed front lobby. The old classrooms were transformed. The south wing, once neon peeling paint and crumbling plaster, became the new home for the Putnam County Chamber of Commerce. It adjoins a welcome center for Eatonton visitors, and out front an elegant conference room for community meetings. The north wing became a state-of-the-art reception hall with space for community and private events. Next door, a large catering kitchen complete with serving counters. And down the hall, a historic classroom recreated by the museum committee with its original blackboard and desk. And at the heart of it all, the old auditorium became a new 500-seat theater, complete with a restored balcony and comfortable chairs. The theater now has an expanded stage equipped for professional productions with an orchestra pit and elegant dressing rooms with restrooms on each wing. There is state-of-the-art lighting, an elaborate sound system, and box seats for prime viewing. The old school now breathes new life.
We're going to be exposed to so much more than probably we ever were because of this. So I'm excited. I'm really excited.
And so a century after the community came together to build on the ashes, it came together again.
This whole building, it was about the people. And this is all for them.
To build on the old foundation, a new center with a new purpose for a new generation.